Well, I guess that's what learning design is about. It's designing it's a plan for learning, and depending on what tools you use and what approaches you use, depending on a lot of things, the audience, the objectives, the type of learning, what sort of resources you've got available, both human and technology-wise. And it's about looking at all of those different components and putting together the best plan for a particular learning need.
I think with our process, we try to take the client through the various stages of design, from those first discussions around what it is that they need and what their learners need, through how we think we can design, how we believe we can design the learning so that we'll meet those needs. It's a fairly clear process, and I think it's one where we hope that we're sharing that path with the client, and that there's no unpleasant surprises along the way.
Adult learning principles or design values, I think it's really important to have that learning's active, that you're providing opportunities to practice what you're learning fairly regularly throughout the course. I think that authentic task design is very important. And the logic there is that learners need to be doing the tasks that they will be doing outside of the classroom, and it's easier to transfer the knowledge. When you get that sort of heavily text-orientated learning followed by multiple choice questions, it makes learning very abstract, as well as uninteresting, I guess. I don't often distinguish between online and face-to-face teaching. I think today it's all about a blended solution. We have all this technology, and it's so prevalent in every sort of other facet of our life, and we need to be including that in teaching and learning as well.
That's probably one of the biggest challenges, is actually knowing where you can see that there's a really clear design, but it might be that the client might have constraints. Also, they might be political constraints, so they can't necessarily take that leap.
Quite often the client's needs might be more aligned with compliance or budget. So the solution that you think would be better for a learning outcome isn't what they necessarily want. All you can do is sort of offer alternative methods and so on that fit within everybody's sort of range of acceptability. So some of the factors that might make a successful learning design include a heavy teacher presence, which wouldn't necessarily be in the format of a traditional classroom, so the teacher telling learners what to do. But learners know that if they need help, that person will either answer a discussion forum, or they'll answer an email, or they're on the phone. So if they have any questions regarding the content or the tasks that they have to complete, I think that's really important. Quite often when we're designing e-learning projects, they're part of a broader blended solution, and that affects how you design, because the levels of feedback that you can provide are quite different. If you know that they've got a connection with other learners and a facilitator through a face-to-face component, then that affects how you design as well. The best learning designs start with the tasks that you need to do in order to achieve the learning outcomes that are desired, and not with content. So you start with authentic, complex tasks that involve problem solving, and then you provide support and resources that allow learners to complete those tasks.
We knew that we were designing for a really broad range of mental health workers and practitioners, and that we needed to also engage with consumer groups and have it so that it met all the standards and so forth. We also knew that people coming into that area are largely coming from fairly academic training, so that we needed to have an academic component to it. But the theory was important, but there's a lot more to it than just the theory. So what we've been able to incorporate is activities that allow the learners to actually engage with some of the more difficult attitudinal issues. And then we've incorporated in practice elements, which are actually interviews with practitioners and also with consumers and with carers, which really highlight some of the particular issues, provide tips, provide some insights into what daily life is like in that particular area of mental health. And I think that's something that you would not have been able to do.
It's wonderful to be working with a team of graphic designers and multimedia experts, because even though I think the most important part of a learning environment is in the task design and meeting learning objectives, it just adds so much to the experience to have a really attractive, beautiful, engaging graphic interface. And the multimedia just provides really, really good opportunities to bring out the kinesthetic learning so people can interact and play with what they're learning.